Here, I did a whole film and found out when it started recording, it actually doesn't start recording me when I think so. So I'm going to give this about a 30-second lead because I found out most of that other video I did earlier did not record. So thank you so much for being here. I'll just do my intro so there's nothing that you're missing. The introduction here is that I am Critterosity. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, for as long as TikTok is here. Obviously, I would love for you to like and subscribe to this channel. Please note that everything I'm going to be teaching during this live is updated from my first sticker sheet Kiss Cut tutorials. Making a regular sticker, like a cut out full cut sticker, die cut is what we call it, anyone can pretty much do. If you let it cut through enough times, it'll happen if you change your pressure to a little bit more. I am using the washi sheet setting for anything that is on a vinyl white. Sounds like I'm saying Vanna white. I'm not. I'm saying vinyl white. And anything with a transparent sticker sheet, which is a little thicker, I am using the sticky note setting. So if you know how to do those things on your Cricut, great. If you don't, that would be another tutorial that I would suggest watching. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. This is how I've ended up making an updated sticker sheet tutorial because I feel like when I first jumped into it, I figured it out, I thought I knew, and I started a whole tutorial. The tutorial is helpful and it still works, but since then I have found better and faster ways of doing things. I've also found some shortcuts, and I will continue to find these things out as I keep using products. I will ask that if you do join the chat that you leave it open for those only inquiring about the sticker sheets. Otherwise, I will be ignoring those comments. As soon as I'm done with the live, obviously the comment section is open to ask those questions. If you want to write me privately, you can always reach me at critterosity@gmail.com or through DM on Instagram. So I'm going to start. I just wanted to let you guys know the chat is open for those that sign into their YouTube free accounts and want to use the chat only to ask about this project I'm working on. Otherwise, I will be ignoring anything else. Just another FYI. All right, so I'm going to speed through this. I've got about 30 minutes to give you guys, and hopefully by the end of this, you will have a better understanding of how to make your sticker sheets. And if you don't, it might just possibly be your Cricut is different than mine. There might be different settings. I'm going to show you guys the company I use, and we will talk more about the sticker sheets as we go. I'm using Joyiza. And Joyiza is this brand right here. It's a vinyl sticker paper. And I use the matte and I use the transparent one. So if you like the way my products are coming out and you would like to do the same thing, that's what I use. My printers are converted printers. The printers are Canons. I, again, can enter this stuff in after, but this is on my channel on my old sticker sheet tutorials. So if you just go through my sticker sheets, if you go through my old videos on tutorial, you will find the sticker sheets, and I do plug all of these things that I use. So instead of rehashing all of that, you can go to my past videos to see all the products I use and how I converted my sublimation printer and my pigment ink printer. So to make it waterproof, pigment ink is extremely important. Otherwise, they will smear when you put them onto products and things like that. Okay, so I'm just going to start. I'll check the chat once in a while, but first we're going to open up Procreate. And Procreate is very important. Of course, now I can't do it because I'm plugged in. This is what happens with old machines. Okay, I use Procreate for everything that I'm doing here. If you don't have it, a lot of this stuff will not apply to you. If you're not ready to make that step, totally fine. I understand. You can do whatever you want. This is my process, and I cannot say this enough. This may not work for you. It may not work for you, but this is what's been working for me, and I've been using this since January of last year. So if this doesn't work for you, you're going to have to find another way, and maybe you can make a tutorial for how it does work for you. But I get a lot of people that yell at me through the comments and say, that didn't work. And I'm like, well, what have you tried? Have you tried something? I'm trying to be helpful and help everybody along with myself. So, so please be kind in the comments. All right, so I go to Studio Pen. It comes with Procreate's program. Everything is a transparent background, so when you're setting it up, you want to turn off your very first layer. This is your background color. You want that off, okay? This is one of my main sticker sheet, what am I trying to say, files. So I try to set up all my Kiss Cut sticker sheets in here. When I draw something or paste all my characters in, this is a 4x6 canvas. So I'm going to turn on my background just so you can see what I'm talking about. I have come to the realization waste is always going to happen with products, but if I can be more thoughtful about how I do that, as pretty as a pink background would look for this, as pretty as a little header would look for this, one, it's eating up space from my sticker sheet. So no, I'd rather give my customer more of the designs on their sticker sheet than waste it with something that you can't use as a sticker. It looks really cute with titles. It looks really cute with QR codes. It looks really cute with, speaking of QR codes, I have included my Venmo, not because I'm asking for money, but if you feel this was helpful for you and you would like to tip me even $1, I will certainly take it. You can scan the QR code, but just in case, that's why it's there. I've been asked by people if they can tip me somewhere, and I just thought I'd include it. So what I was going to say was, when I bring all of these little characters in, I want to make sure I fill up the paper as best I can. I could even squeeze a couple more things like right here, but I chose not to. I think they're getting a lot for the $6 that I ask them for my 4x6 sticker sheets. And also I want to point out that I'm not using a color in the background because it's just going to get thrown away. I know it looks pretty, but it's just going to get thrown away. So depending on companies I might work with in the future, or a customer has a custom sticker sheet that they want, right now they get a white background. That's it, because it's just going to go in the garbage. So what I want to do is set up a 4x6, or maybe you want almost an 8x10 size, whatever you want. You want to remove the background in Procreate. Once I've got all those guys on one layer, I'm going to add a layer behind it. I've already done a lot of this prep, so you guys can just watch this quickly and move on. But with my studio pen, which seems to be the smoothest one with no major edges, when you use something that is textured, what happens is it's going to add a texture to the edge, and then guess what? Your Cricut's not going to read it as a clean line. It's going to make it all bumpy and jagged. So this is why it's really important to use something like the studio pen so that you guys can get the cleanest lines for the edges. Over here, you have your opacity, so you can raise it up to make it strong, or you can lower it. We want it as strong as possible. And over here, you want to raise and lower for the size of your brush. This is completely up to you. Some of us are heavy-handed like me. I press really hard so I get a really thick line. If it was up here, it'd be too thick. If I try to soften it, sometimes I can't control it. So finding that perfect little spot for it is what you want to do. All I'm going to do is draw my cut line around it. So if I accidentally go too close, it's going to see that pixelated image, and it's not going to cut it nicely. It's going to make it all blurry and weird. So you want to be enough on the outskirts you can know that that character's line work is safely inside. Now we have this expanded so it's really blurry. When it's a 4x6 page, it's about that big and everything looks fine. It looks condensed, and the pixels don't really show up. So I'm just outlining it fairly close. Some of them can be a little more wonky. I'm not worried about filling it in right now. I'm just worried about making the cut edge for this. So this is on its own layer. I am not going on the layer that I drew on. The layer is underneath. I added a layer under. If you don't know how to do that, you can add and then just hold it and drag it underneath, okay? So now you have this outline, okay? When you're done outlining everything on your page, if you want to do it this way, everyone has different ways of doing it. You want to, again, make sure the edge of this design is not showing outside of the white. If it's too close like this, you're going to get a weird cut line. You want to make sure it definitely adds a border to the edge and that your image is safely inside of it. okay? So once you've done all of those, you can turn off the top layer if you like to get more precision, be a little faster, hit continue filling, and you can do that and just literally tap into all the different shapes you've made. I have already done this, so I'm going to delete that layer I was just showing you on, and I'm gonna show you how I did mine. Some are thick, some are thin. I try not to get too close because if they are too close, guess what? Your cut is gonna go like that. It doesn't matter if it's a color in the background of your character. You want it to be pink, that's fine. What the machine is reading is just the edges. It's not reading the colors. So that's completely fine. If you're doing something like a gift tag, something that is a solid edge like this, oops, sorry. Let me add a new layer. If you're doing something that has solid edges or a shape, like you bring in a square or something, that's fine. It's gonna read every single edge. So it's gonna cut it in the way it reads that. Sometimes when I do things like this, as like a gift tag, right? It'll sometimes add a little bit of a blur around it when it prints, but the cut line is gonna be the sharp line that I made. So there again are different ways to approach this. I say it's like math. There's no one way to get to the answer. Everybody's Cricut is completely unique and different. And so I hate to tell you that because I would love for it to be one answer. And I think that's what people, including myself, were looking for when I first got my Cricut. I was like, give me just what to do. Tell me what the settings are. But unfortunately, unlike Procreate, there are no one set setting. You actually have to finagle, you have to recalibrate, you have to do all these things with your Cricut. And that's why I'm here to tell you I've done those things. I've now been on a consistent path and I still have my machine messing up. So if you haven't watched Cricut sticker tutorials, you're gonna find out everyone's saying one day it does this, the next day it does this. One day I move it here and it works, and the next day I do this and it doesn't work. The Cricut is finicky. Until they find a machine that can do everything perfectly, I don't know what to tell you. So definitely just use these as guides when you're learning to set these up. I want to shout out where I've learned this from, Catnip. A good chunk of this was through Catnip, K-A-T-N-I-P-P. If you don't follow their channel, please do. She has so much knowledge and she's worked with products like Cricut for so long that she can get through things pretty quickly, explain it really well, and I truly appreciate her. And I'm subscribing to her channel. So I just want to always give credit where it's due. Okay, so up next, you've done this. You can either merge your characters with the background like this, and you can just pinch those two layers together. You can click on it and once on the top layer and say merge down. It'll do the same thing. There are all these shortcuts in both Cricut and Procreate. And then the other thing you can do is just leave it like that. As long as your page is set up like this, even if they're not put together, you can still go up to your actions, your little tool, and you're gonna say to share it as a PNG. PNG means transparent background. There is no background for it, so it's noticing just the shapes. We're gonna go put these cookies in the oven, but no, actually we are not gonna use the cookies. That's how you would save a file. It works for any other layouts you're doing. We are going to be working on the Wicked one that I've made for my new art heroes that subscribe to me every month. If you're interested in checking that out, critterosity.subly, SUBBLY.me. If you want to go support that, you can end up with your own mystery sticker sheets every month that I make. These ones are the Wicked ones and I'm still printing them out. So I thought, hey, why not make a tutorial while I'm cutting these out anyway? Now what I'm going to do is switch to my refurbished iPad. All my iPads are refurbished. This is like a 2017. On the desk, I have about a 2018 or 19 that's refurbished. Ended up with it kind of on accident. Long story is that now it's great because I can only print to my sublimation printer with this one, and I can only print to my my sticker sheet, I guess you could say, printer. I only use it for sticker sheets. And if I have to print out a quick file or something for somebody, I can do it. But I'm using pigment ink, and that's through Cosmos ink. If you're going to convert your printer, you can't change halfway through using it as an original inkjet printer. You have to convert it at the very beginning when you first buy it. You can't switch your ink. If you do, it's probably not going to give you what you're looking for, and you're mixing a water-based ink with a pigment ink, which is an ink that lasts for years and years and years without, it's basically waterproof. So just a reminder, you cannot convert your current printer you've been using as an inkjet. You unfortunately have to buy a brand new printer. And this is why I tell you, I'm an artist. I am a starving artist, but I'm not starving very much. And I used the most affordable Canons you can pick up at Target or Walmart that are like $150, $120 on sale. And I bought the pigment ink and the sublimation ink for each printer right off the bat, and they've been marvelous. I've been using them for a year and I am obsessed. So that should give you information on the printer. So now what I'm doing is I'm switching over to my other iPad, and this is the one that can print with Cricut. And I'm going to show you a couple things you can do now that I've actually learned how to use my machines. Okay, we're going to go out of here. And let's see, cancel. Sorry, I still don't hit the cancel button much. If anything, it kicks me out of Cricut. Cricut has a lot of glitches. I do not pay for a subscription. I can do all of this without a subscription. I really hope they never force us to do a subscription, because man, if I have to sign up for one more app or subscription, I might scream. I know a lot of people feel this way. So what I did was, and I do this in my other video, I said, if you speak layers, here's what I do. I set up 5 rectangles in the same spot and 5 rectangles in the same spot. The way this looks over here is 10 rectangles. I just make sure that my settings, okay, my first rectangle I want to make is right here. I can hit edit. And don't worry, I'm going to show you how to bring in things and how to also make like individual stickers from the same sticker sheet. Again, the stuff I've learned, it was like, why did I not think of this? So you hit edit. You can find out what your width is, the height. You can even unlock it if it's not staying completely in like a size you need. Maybe I just need this to drop down just a little more for her crown. All of those things. As long as I'm within it, I should be good. As long as it's not sitting on the edge or touching the edge, I should be good. This one's really close, so a couple of my sticker sheets went right to the edge, but the sticker cut out fine and they can still use it. So I can edit the width and the height. I can keep it locked exactly how it is. And all I did was pick a shape. This shape, I go in and I found my rounded rectangle. You can use this one or a square. I can't remember which one I used, because when you click on it, the great news is it can stay exactly as it is, or you can come over here, unlock it, and set it to whatever you want. So sorry, I don't know what I clicked on there. You can click on it and say, I want it to be 8 for the width. So you can change it any way you like. You can unlock it so that you can make it wonky shapes and it might change the shape that you wanted originally, or you can keep it locked so it stays in the same shape that you had before. So figuring that out is up to you, because you know how big you need your sticker sheet. If it's too large and you're off the canvas, you've gone like 5x7 and 5x7, it's not going to fit with all the crop lines. So you'll get a red flag. And so I'm going to show you what that looks like. If I said I want this whole thing to be this big and I go to make it, look what happens. Boom. It says, nope, too big. So I can go over here and hit the back button. Once you find out how big it can go before you print, and you don't get the red, then you know you're good to go, as long as there's no red exclamation point. How big are my little rectangles? I said big and little. If I go to one of my, it says square. I'm using the square because, again, as long as it's rounded, I didn't care. Mine are 4.12 by 6.17. 4.12 by 6.17. Those are my settings. Okay. And then what I did was I duplicated and put it next to this one. So I just basically took that rectangle and moved it over. Again, I'm going to hit the back button a lot because mine's already set up to cut. So once you get them close enough, you can't kind of keep them separated. You'll find out that there's no exclamation points. You don't have to worry because you're perfectly in the cut zone. If you were going to hit make it right now, this is another way to find out. It will show you what the layout is. So that's how you also know, like, oh, I have a little bit more room right here. This is to make sticker sheets. You can do lots of things. You can actually get rid of the squares and just lay a bunch of stickers down and hope that they're in the canvas. You can do a rectangle one-time cut around just so it all fits in the right spot and you have a guide, like a little template. But I do 10 of these. Like I said, the size is 4.12 by 6.17. You can always pause and rewind anytime. I make 5 in this stack. Unfortunately, when you hit duplicate, you would think that it'd put it in the same spot, but look what it does. It makes it offset, which is so frustrating. There are people with other YouTube channels that have talked about how to get everything to move back in one quick stack. I thought I could do it by highlighting the stack and then going to, still with my edit button, position, and hitting like 0, but it doesn't. It still makes them weird and funky. So I usually go and set each single one to the area I want it. How do you do that, Eva? Well, let me tell you. All right. So what I do is I find out, let's say, the top rectangle or the bottom rectangle. How do I get, each time I duplicate, how do I get that rectangle to line up? Well, if you try dragging it, you're going to move everything. That's why you have the edit button and the position, X and Y. So what I do is I find out the original triangle. I find that, or rectangle. I said triangle. I find the original rectangle. And when you hit edit, it gives you the exact location, 0 and 5.97. So now I go to my new one. This may not work for everybody. This is how I've been doing it. It's probably wasting a lot of time. But if you want to know how I'm setting these up, that's how I'm doing it. I type in 0. It'll turn red after I leave it. And then 5.97. I just put the exact same positions in, and look, it lined it up perfectly. And now I have 6 rectangles stacked in one spot. That means it's going to go around the rectangles this many times. What is a question that shows up on my old Cricut sticker sheet? Why did you make so many rectangles? Because you will find out when you actually use your Cricut that going around it once does not cut through. You have to cut it out several times. I've also met people that said, I only have to press it or cut it once with one rectangle. And if that works for your Cricut, fantastic. It has never worked for me. I need it to cut all the way through to get through to the bottom mat. Or to the mat. So basically I'm doing a die cut around the rectangle to fully cut it out for me so I don't have to use my scissors. And then these are just kiss cut. I just barely, just exactly what it says, kiss cut. I want it to barely cut it out so that you can peel it off the paper later. When I was doing this, even one cut wasn't working to cut around my characters for Cricut. So what do I have to do is cut my process in half. So instead of cutting it around 10 times and 10 times, I do 5 times around, 5 times around, and then guess what? We're going to have to hit the cut button a second time. I basically have to run it through my Cricut twice. And that's what I've discovered is my Cricut will not do it in a first round. It will not do it even if I do it that process one time. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I don't know why. I don't know why my Cricut doesn't want to do it. It just doesn't. And I'm okay with that. I now have a system. And once you learn what your Cricut, how it works, you kind of just get accustomed to it that like it would almost be weird if I found a way to do it just one time. So at this point, I have my settings. Let me go back because I added an extra rectangle just to show you guys. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for one of the square stacks. And then I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, I added a 6th one. It's fine. We'll keep it for the second stack. Okay, and then if I keep hitting back, I think I moved this one out. There we go. Now I got rid of the 6th one. I was showing you guys and I added one and I thought I took it away. All right, so right there, I attach it. So how do you attach it? We'll get to that in a second. You don't need to attach them right now. Just get your 5 and your 5 stacked on top of each other, exact location, X and Y. Size should be the same, everything. Ignore all of this extra stuff. That's because I use this sticker sheet layout template for all of my 4x6 sticker sheets, so I don't have to keep doing the squares. Once you've set up your template, hit save. Because if you don't save it, all that hard work is going to go away. Once I've set up my 4x6 rectangles, it's amazing. I can just delete my characters on top, or I can hide them with the eyeball. And then I know it's there whenever I need it if I get more orders for something. And this one, I can turn that one off, and then I can bring in a new project. Or I can go to one that's really popular right now, and I can set up my other ones. So that's why I love the save button, because even though I'm not paying for my subscription, I can save my 4x6 template and I never have to set it up again. That one-time setup is it. The only thing you have to change is what you're cutting out each time. All right, so now what I've learned in the new one, again, pretend the squares are the only thing that exists. Nothing else up here exists, not even the attach buttons, nothing. What I do is I want to upload. And mine's already uploaded in my images, so I'm gonna take it from here. But what I would do is select from library, and I would like pick my gingerbread, okay? It's already in my system, I already have it. But if I was to do this, I would hit the word apply. I don't do multiple layers. I don't do single layers. I do flat graphic. If you read it, it says creates a single layer. If it asks you, by the way, anytime, do you want to subscribe during the prompt? Just click away from it. Just tap your finger somewhere else and hit the next button. So that was on this first screen. Sometimes it jumps with, would you like to make a subscription or sign back up? I don't touch it at all. I just go to apply. And then I end up here, I hit flat graphic. It's gonna flatten the whole graphic. So even if you had multiple layers, it's a flat picture now. You can see the little boxes, means you did it transparent. If you don't see those little boxes, you probably saved it as a JPEG with a background, and it's gonna create a background for it. This is if you want to kiss cut the way I do. You don't want background. You don't need anything extra cut out. You're not making little labels at the top. That's something you can go learn from somebody else. This is exactly what I do. I hit next, and then I would save the file as like gingerbread. Okay, I've already saved it, so that is it. And then you hit upload. I'm not going to hit that because I already have the characters saved. I'm going to hit discard changes. You can use their tools they have in here. To be honest, I don't use them because I make it all in Procreate. It's all those processes are done over in Procreate. Okay, so I'm gonna upload. If you already have the image in there, you can go open uploaded images. Here's all of the things that I've already created. So if I go to print my Wicked one, let's say, I can add to canvas. Here is something I learned since my last sticker sheet tutorial that I am like, are you kidding me? So when you hit add to canvas, there's a little thing that says it's been added to your cart. You can hit back, or you can click it when it's still popped up. If you guys rewind, you'll see it'll say view your page or whatever. Sometimes I miss hitting that. So I just close out of there and look who's sitting here, all pretty for me. So now you want to touch your image first. You are going to contour. I love the contour tool so flipping much because I used to bring every character in individually when I did planner stickers. Guess what you can do? You can hide all of it. One has to stay highlighted no matter what. One will always stay highlighted. Sometimes it'll be a different one than you expect. Okay, it doesn't matter. Right now, she's the only one that's gonna show up on the canvas if I hit done. Okay, and then I can be like, I want her on the whole 4x6. It's already laid out. It's already ready to go. I can rotate it. I can shrink it down. I can duplicate it. Right here, duplicate button. I can add another one of her. Okay, then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, but I want, darn, I want the other girl. I want, I can't even think of her name, Glinda, on the other one. Well, but I'm already using those. Guess what? Hit duplicate again. You're gonna make another one of those, but watch when you hit contour again. I don't want this character anymore. I want Glinda, and I'm gonna turn that one off. And now look, she's there. Now, if this ever happens to you, by the way, and you go to move it, look what happens. I don't know what that glitch is. It's really weird. I'm glad that it did it because sometimes it doesn't happen. If that ever happens to you, click contour again. Let's see, selector, click contour. And what I do is I will grab like 2 of them, hit done. It'll bring 2 images. I drag it over here, hit contour again, and just get rid of it. That way she stays out here. There's something about when it's over here, you can't like drag it. If anyone knows the answer to that, yay for you. I haven't figured it out yet. So the contour tool is amazing. It can separate out your pieces. You can grab just one, just keep hitting duplicate, because right now that I'm using her, anytime I add a new character, it's gonna add it to that. We don't wanna do that. So if you just want individual characters, bring in a whole sticker sheet and separate it. Make planner stickers, make larger stickers, shrink them down, make them big, make them small. I do have a lot of problems with the sensitivity of the iPad screen when I'm trying to do stuff. It gets very frustrating. But when my customers say, okay, instead of just a sticker sheet, I want die cut stickers, well, then I can just let my Cricut cut a few more times around it to really make it a die cut. Or what I do is I leave it on the paper like a kiss cut. I cut around it and remove the backing plastic, and that way it's a kiss cut. It's just not cut all the way around. But guess what? When they peel it off the paper, it's a die cut. Kiss cut just means you can make a sticker sheet with a bunch of stickers. Die cut means when it cuts all the way through, and every one of these kiss cut stickers is cut all the way through. So you're getting a die cut, but in a sticker sheet form. So you can literally die cut it just by leaving it on the paper and removing the backing and like cutting them out individually. You could do that, or you can have the nice clean cut all the way around. I just find it's a little hard to get them started when it's die cut. I can't separate the back from the top, so it's kind of nice having that extra piece of paper when it kiss cuts it, and then I peel off the paper around it, which again, I will give you actual physical samples of what I'm talking about. Now let's say you don't want any of those things that I just showed you, but hey, they're great tools to learn. You can now kiss cut a bunch of things as die cut stickers. Just leave it on the backing. Okay, we're going to go backwards now. I'm just getting rid of what I showed you guys. We're going to go back to when we did the first contour. You have to touch the picture, hit contour. Okay, I'm going to hide all because if you guys notice, there's some boo-boos. Sometimes you'll notice little zigzags. It's probably because your outline of whatever you were doing, maybe you went to erase something and it left little things you couldn't see. It reads everything, like everything. It has to be the cleanest it can be. And if you can't figure out where your mistakes are when you go back to Procreate to kind of clean it up, like, okay, I noticed in this area, there's something there that's creating this little dot. You can go back and guess, because half the time I can't even see it in Procreate. Not with a dark background, not with a light background. I just can't see it. All I want to do then is just take a clean Studio Pen eraser. You do this, you pick the same kind of brush for your eraser. I cut it, or I erase right next to the body, and it'll separate that little piece away from it. The great part is when you show all, you're getting everything. It's gonna print even that little cut right there. You can either select it and take it off here, or if you have a ton of random things everywhere and you're like, man, there's so many little odds and ends, you can hide all and go backwards. Just do the shapes you want. And the more you do this, the cleaner they'll get, the easier they'll get. Back in the day, I wouldn't do my line work far enough out. I'd get all these little bumps and zigzags and weird little dots everywhere. Just go slow, clean up your page, and make sure you're using like the cleanest. You're not like erasing everything in your sticker sheet setup on Procreate. You're actually bringing in a product that is like completely sharp. That way, when you go to clean up the edges, you get a sharp line. If you're bringing a whole background into your sticker sheet in Procreate and you're trying to erase the whole background and use your select tool, you're probably gonna miss spots that you don't even notice. And when you bring it in here, you will notice, you will scream, you will be mad that you had to save another photo. Trust me, I've lived it, I know. So now I can see my whole sticker sheet. I've got everybody selected. I made sure I didn't select that one little tool. It was not highlighted. And now I can go to edit and I can start to size it and shape it. So I'm gonna go 90 degrees rotate. All right, I can either do this and kind of guess it first and be like, okay, let's just try that. You can drag the corners, but every now and then you're gonna accidentally grab this square and you're gonna drag it, or rectangle, whatever you wanna call it, and you're gonna get so mad and you're gonna be like, dang it, it keeps grabbing it, especially if you're not using desktop. My desktop's too old. Cricut kept crashing on it, so I can't use my desktop for most programs like this. If you're close, but it's not perfect, but you're getting closer, what I do is I have the edit, right? I select the item. If it selects all your squares on accident, just click on anywhere blank on the canvas, just touch the one layer you're working with, hit edit. Okay, actions has contour where we can change everything. Edit is going to give you your dimensions of that little sticker sheet. So right now it's at 419 and 5.71. It's a little too wide. Wide when it's 90 degrees is wide this way. When it's straight up and down, wide is still this way. So wide here is actually height, I believe. So let me see. I'm pretty sure height is this one. Okay, so I want my height to get smaller. It's at 5.71. I'm gonna do 5.69. You'd be shocked how quick it jumps in size when you try to fix it. Did that go up or down? Let's find out what this is. 5.7. Okay, so that did go a little bit taller, so maybe height does stay the same. It's so funny when you're just doing this, you don't really think about it. I did 4.2 is height here. That's what I'm saying, like it's a little confusing how it's going when it's on its side. You could do this before, but it's easier to find it there. The way I normally go about this is honestly just to use the little corners. I just find it works easier, and then if you go slow enough, you can find the criss and the cross. And it doesn't mean that it's within your shape. You have to kind of zoom in and see if you can go a little wider. If it's touching the edge, it's going to cut through. You got to check everywhere. If something like that happens, don't be afraid to hit your back button, your undo button. But maybe I've just realized like, okay, let me go big and then go small. It always lets me drag out, but not in. I apologize for the nails. Haven't had my nails redone. We're gonna go down and then over. This is a little hard to do as well. I'm sure there's somebody out there in the world that's like, there's a center button where it knows where the center is. I can tell right here, it's not gonna cut on the edge. Just make sure you check every corner, because when this looks good, you start to get all happy and then you realize something else is off-centered. So the other thing you can do, another tip and trick, is you can click it. You can say contour, and let's say I want to squeeze her a little bit, or I want to make her bigger. I'm going to take her off. Look, the sticker sheet is going to stay exactly how I have it laid out. Another great thing about this, I'm going to duplicate the sheet and I'm going to bring her back. So I'm going to make sure just that top layer I just duplicated is there. I hit contour. Now I'm going to hide all of them and only, see, you have to have one selected so I can get rid of it now. Now I can just work on her. So these, again, are little things I didn't even think about or even know how to do until I started going, wait a minute, I should be able to separate her on her own thing. And now I know I can make her a little bit bigger if I wanted to. So I can drag her out, or I can use the edit button. Do you see how much difficulty I have trying to drag it? It's like it doesn't notice it, and then it finally does. So I can be like, okay, she can be a little bigger, and we can move her around. If you want more precision, it keeps bouncing like this. Every time I lift up my hand, it jumps. You can go back to edit, and you can start to shift it. If this is 3.88, what happens if we put her at 3.66, just to take a guess? It moves her up. I hit the back button. Okay, that's the only way to start practicing and learning things, is to keep kind of guessing at how it all goes. All right, so if you're happy with the sticker sheet, what you can do is you can merge these two into one. All right, I flatten those and I can duplicate them. And now look, I can move it over. Most of the time, my sticker sheets are laid out exactly how I want them. I don't need to do what I just did. But maybe you're like, I want planner stickers of only her and her. Then you can use that contour tool under actions and start to mess with it and get it better. Once you have this all lined up, what I do is I drag a little box over the whole thing from the white area and I hit the little paper clip attach. What that does is groups it all together. Watch what happens when I don't attach it. If I go to hit make it, it has no idea what I'm trying to print, and it's like it's gonna show up anywhere it's trying to fit it on the mat. We don't want that. We want it to go exactly where we want it. It doesn't matter if it's down here. It doesn't matter if it's in the corner. It's always gonna put it where it's supposed to go. So if I hit make it, watch what happens after I attach it. Oh, I didn't hit attach, I'm so sorry. I drag it across everything. I hit the paper clip button, that attaches everything together. I hit make it, and watch, it's gonna show it with the little preview. Now you send it to print. I hit next. First, it's gonna look for your Cricut. If you haven't already found it, your Cricut should be on right now. It'll offer you your Cricut. Sometimes I have to exit after it joins my Cricut. Low memory mode has been happening a lot when I have programs open. So let me double check. That's a little scary. I have no programs open, so I don't know why it's doing that. Again, these are low refurbished iPads, so they don't have much memory at all. But when you go to make it, I would send it to my printer next. Let's see if it'll let me do it this time. I don't know why it kicked me out. But sometimes when it connects to my Bluetooth for my Cricut, it just sits here and does the spinning wheel. and you're just sitting there. So I have to close the app, and once it's connected, it won't ask you to connect again. It will be connected. It's when you unplug your Cricut or turn the power off on your Cricut, that's when it usually can't find it. See how it's just spinning and spinning and spinning? That's no good. But again, I love when you guys can see my trials and how I deal with them, because if it happens to you, you're not like, no one's ever covered what happens if this happens. It's saved on your canvas. The great news is I didn't hit save yet. If I get rid of all this hard work and I don't hit the save file right there, it will never show back up like this. Right now, I haven't closed this canvas, so it actually stays on there, but try to hit the save button when you remember. So again, I'm hitting make it, I'm hitting next. It would normally ask me to connect to my Bluetooth. If it keeps telling me that the power is not working, there we go. Okay, see, again, glitches constantly. Constantly there's something. I would send it to my printer. You guys will choose your printer. Mine don't show up. I have to actually reset my Wi-Fi on my printers. I have to join the Wi-Fi and type in my password on my printers every single time I need to print something, and it will only print one of something. I don't know if it's because we live in an older building and the older walls with some brick, or because my Wi-Fi can't be over by my printers. I don't know. I don't know why. Again, not a tech savvy person, but learning to work through the trials. I would select if it's going to be on photo matte paper, or I do photo high glossy. So it's not offering that to me because, again, it can't find my printers until I set it up. It'll say that it's there, but it's not there because all these other options should show up. Like right now I hit color. There should be one more for media. So my media options are usually high gloss photo for my transparent sticker sheet, and my setting for white vinyl is going to be not plain paper. You don't want that. You want photo matte paper or presentation matte paper. Any of those will work. Then when it's done printing, which I've printed out too, let me show you each of these so you guys can see the difference, and then I'll bring you over to my Cricut so you guys can see. Again, you guys can rewatch this as many times as you need, and then ask any questions. This was an accident print, actually. This is my white vinyl. This I printed on photo gloss paper, and it's white matte vinyl by Joyiza. And this one is transparent, which is a shimmery, shiny one, okay? So I used the same setting I used for this on this paper, but it's because it stuck to this paper and I didn't even know it was stuck in between. So I kind of got this one on accident, which made it great for this tutorial. I am using the Make Market ones. I don't really care if it's Cricut or not, but I can tell you this. Greg has bought me these by off brands. The one thing I've noticed, and I can say this because I've done this long enough now, that the Cricut ones, I don't know if somebody can leave it in the comments below, do not create a residue on the rubber wheels that are on the bar that rolls the paper in and out, this whole mat in and out, but it's now glitching to where I get a red light on my power button and it shuts down on me. If I haven't used my Cricut within like 2 days, see all this sticky stuff on the edge? It's as if these mats aren't meant for the Cricut, maybe. It's so sticky, even the light one. This one is a light grit, and it creates this gumminess that I have all over the wheels now, and there's no easy cleaning it. We are going to try to clean it, but it's really hard to do, and you can't just like pick it up and clean them. They're stuck down to the Cricut. So my boyfriend said, I will look into it. I'll see if I can clean them off. But they're basically creating a gumminess that when my computer tries to feed it through, it gets stuck and it can't even pull the mat in. I have to turn the Cricut off, restart it, kind of pull as much of the gummy stuff off as I can with Goo Gone, let it dry, and then try to do it again. So if you are buying other kind of brand mats, I'm just saying it's something I've noticed is happening, and now my machine is glitching due to it getting stuck, excuse me. But maybe if I use the Cricut ones long enough, maybe that happens to yours as well. I'm not sure. So just letting you guys know, they do suggest always using their products. I put it on my mat when it prints out. It has the guides. I make sure the guide is the correct way. If you don't remember, just look at your picture and see what goes where. There's been plenty of times when I was getting used to my Cricut, I would turn it the wrong way. It would cut because it's going from a memory of what it thinks. It's not necessarily reading your paper as it's in there. So it would start cutting her out up here. You know what I'm saying? And it would be Glinda's design, but over Elphaba. I just said that wrong. It would be Elphaba's cut out, but Glinda would be up here. So just remember, the machine is just doing what its memory is telling it to do. Like, I know that this is what the layout is. It's not like you put it in and it's reading it with AI or something to know like, oh, this is each picture. It's just a memory of what's here. So if you move anything or change your sticker sheet slightly in any way, which I did so many times at the beginning of learning this, it will screw up your whole thing and you have to start all from the beginning and you have to get rid of all your printed out sheets, because if you move her slightly, it's never going to cut the same. So make sure when you know what your printer, once you print your sheets, you don't change it at all. You need to cut it exactly as is. All right, we're gonna go to the vinyl settings first, and then we'll do transparent settings, and then there's really nothing else to teach you guys. I'm just showing you how it works for me, proving that it works for me, because I've had so many people say, that doesn't work. And I'm like, how could it not work? It worked. This is how I've been making sticker sheets. So it's just different for you than it is for me. And I'm gonna give you another tip with the actual machine. So I'm gonna hit, I've already printed. I have my 2 bookmarks. This took forever for it to bookmark. There was so much glitching with the program. Friends were calling me, trying to help me. I'm like, it will not let me bookmark. So they're my top 2. Finally, one day, I don't know if it was an update or what, I was able to bookmark them. So when you look at all materials, you can add a little bookmark to the side. Some of these are, I think, Cricut subscription. Some of them aren't, I don't know, or maybe Cricut product it's saying. I don't use anything else. You guys can see sticky note and washi sheet is all I use. Washi sheet is the softest setting. Think about a thin piece of paper. You want it to barely touch down. I have my cut to where it's going to cut each of the pages once. Okay, these characters are once. Remember, we have 5 rectangles. It's going to cut out 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to move down here. It's going to do 5 cuts down here after it cuts out the characters. Then I'm going to hit the cut button when it's done. I'm not going to touch anything. I'm not going to end the program. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to go back to the C on the machine, hit the cut button one more time. It's going to do the exact same cuts one more time. And that is the only way I have been able to get a perfect Kiss Cut sticker sheet. And even when I say perfect, they still cut through the paper sometimes. They still have issues. And I think I know why that is, because I've actually experimented with my Cricut and moving its location, and it's actually helped. And I'll tell you why that is. It's not like I'm moving it from California to Florida, but actually its location on how it sits. Is it level? Is it shaking when it's printing? Is it on something sturdy? Does the thing you have it on bow and it's like slightly wobbling? Is there a higher pressure in the center of the sticker sheet where it's sitting up and the rest is kind of like, even though it looks flat in there, I'm telling you, the blade touches down at the highest points. So if there's a little wonkiness to how your Cricut is sitting or how it's cutting or it's like shaking or wobbling, that blade's going to be bouncing around, and it may be absolutely the tiniest bit of wobbling that you don't even notice it like that. You notice that. It changes the cut. So I've noticed moving my machine forward and back on my table, there's different areas that have higher points and it'll cut all the way through, and then other areas will be perfect Kiss Cut. So definitely try better leveled tables that are not going to move. They're not going to jiggle. The one I have it on is not the smartest choice, but it's been working. Okay, so now that I've got washi sheet for my vinyl sticker, I'm going to hit more for the pressure, because washi sheet isn't enough. Every time I do washi sheet twice, for the 2 rounds it's cutting to where you start to rip it and then the whole thing rips in half. So I want to make sure I have a bit more pressure. And my tools, I actually have the deep point blade in there, but I just keep it on the fine point blade because, again, everyone's machine is different. You have to play with the settings and find out what works. So these are my settings for the vinyl. This is not the settings for the transparent. Okay, we are gonna go for a walk. I'm so sorry, I'm gonna unplug you. I'm gonna lift you up and we're gonna go for a little stroll, okay? A little stroll. All right, let's walk you over to my Cricut machine. Okay, there's the handy dandy Cricut machine. Now, a lot of you have said, does the Joy Express or Joy Explorer, whatever it is, I don't own it, does it work the same? I don't know. I can only speak for the products I'm using. I am not paid by Cricut. I do not get sponsorship from them. This is all 100% my own. This is the Cricut family, I want to say. Cricut Family Express or Explorer, or I don't even know. Explorer Air 2, where I'm coming up with family, I don't know. All right, so see these rollers right here? This is what I was talking about. There's tons of gunk build up on it from these sticky mats. And I don't know, again, if that's from, don't even look at all the grossies. Okay, I don't know if that is from the actual, like Cricut or from this, if it just happens anyway. I don't know. Sorry, let me pull this out. I'm like shaking because I'm trying to hold it with my fingertips. Okay, so I put it here. I always hold the edge of this. I always hold the edge of it and give it a little bit of, not a push, but just make sure it's feeding it in. I'm gonna use my hip for this because I know it doesn't take a lot. All right, and I'm just gonna hit the load in button. You guys are probably wondering what this is if you haven't seen my last videos. I'm gonna hit this button once. See how it did a little jump? I don't know if you guys saw that, but there was a little bit of a jump, a little hesitation. It happens because it's so sticky that it's sticking to this plastic inside and it's not like fully rolling. So we're gonna do it one more time. That was much smoother. I don't know if you want to rewind and see that again, but I can tell the difference now because I've tried to do that and it turns out it's not feeding it in all the way, and it just gets stuck. And then this turns to a red light. Okay, it's very much the Nintendo vibe back in the day, right? The ring of death or whatever they called it. All right, we got the C button is lighting up. That means it's ready to start cutting. It's gonna read all of this. You guys know this, okay? In the meantime, while this starts so loudly, which Cricut would be awesome if they came up with a quieter system. They don't yet. You guys can see that I am on one of these kind of deals, okay? Not the smartest, but I have it as even as I can on each side, okay? So now that I'm like that, I try to keep it as center as possible. So I've gone middle of the table, enough room behind to feed this through. Sorry, my incense is all over on that side. Watch it go through. Has enough room to the windowsill, so it's never been hit there. And then when it starts to cut, do all its thing, great. Some of you are going to ask like, well, why does it cut in some areas deeper than other spots? I just don't know. All I can tell you is I've tried to make this as even as possible. If this table wobbles, if it has a higher, like this is a drop leaf. So look at this. Even with this little bit of a drop, it's not very sturdy. So I'm telling you, find the best flat area you can to put it on and is stable and not gonna shake. This is all good. This is doing its thing. If it's not doing its thing, you wanna calibrate. The calibration test is in the settings at the very beginning, like the menu. Just go there and the calibration walks you through it. It's really easy, actually. I mean, that one was like a no-brainer. But calibrate. And once you calibrate it, then come back and try your sticker sheet again. After about a month, I have to calibrate because it starts cutting my lines a little bit off. I'll go to peel a sticker and I'll notice it's not close to the edge or something like that. So that is my info on this one. When you're doing the transparent sticker sheet, it may not read your cut lines. That's happened to me so many times, so I have to say, knock on wood, this is fake particle board. My transparent sticker sheets have been working just fine, but man, there was a long time there where I could not get it to read the guidelines because the reflection with the light. What I've noticed is like, my light doesn't really go on anymore, and I don't know if I'm crazy, but I feel like there's no more reflection. So see how it's cutting? It's cutting all 5 of those rectangles. A lot of people say, why do you do 5 rectangles? Because it's gonna cut out the whole thing for me. And when I double down on the cut and run it through a second time, that's when it cuts out 10 and it cuts it almost perfectly. It will go over my stickers one more time, and that's what we want because mine always tear with only one cut. If I like kicked it out right now, these might feel cut, but they're not deep enough, even on washi sheet setting. And if I did with the knife, how I told you guys I left it with the original cut tool, not the deep knife blade, it's because when I do the deep knife blade, it basically cuts all the way through and there's no kiss cut. So that's why I keep those settings, because I'd rather do it perfectly and run it through a second time than do it once and then keep getting mad that it doesn't work every single time. So it's kind of been the only way I can do it. But yeah, with transparent sticker sheets, it could be the lighting in your room. The light is bouncing off of it when it's trying to read the register lines, and it creates a reflection into this, and it's like, whoa, I don't get it. You can use Scotch tape over it, or what I've done in the past is recycled these little triangles, and I actually cut them out of my other like past ones that I've thrown away. Here we go, like this. And I just cut them and I line them up over the other one. It has to be perfect though. Your register lines have to be really close. And I've done that and used a flat white vinyl sticker corner on my transparent sticker sheet. But then the other way is the Scotch tape that's a little bit cloudy. Not a clear, not like super clear, but the cloudier Scotch tape. And I just put it right over the edges. So right now it's cutting out the 5 rectangles. And I do the exact same process for transparent sticker sheets. There is no other thing other than my settings changing, which we will talk about once this gets done cutting. We'll go over that. Otherwise, like I said, my comments are open on YouTube. Please be polite. This is how I've been doing it. This is the way it works for me. If you're like, that's ridiculous, I could do it once. It's because every machine is different. There are so many different circumstances. You might be using a different blade than I am. You might be using a different setting than I am. You might have it on a different type of surface when it cuts. You might know a setting that's better than this that works for you. Everybody's is different, just like all of us. We're all unique. So are our Cricut sheets, okay? Our Cricut cutters. All right, so now I have this here, so I remind myself to hit it again. If this is off, it means I hit it a second time and it's ready to come off. So I use that little reminder for myself. So it says hit C again. I just leave it there, but I hit C again once it's done and it's rested. Now watch. It doesn't even have to read the register lines. You're like, it's perfect. Do it one more time. So see? It's going to get right to cutting. You don't even have to worry about taking it off. I'm noticing there's some bowing here with my sticker sheet, and what that can mean is that the stickiness is going away, which wouldn't surprise me. It's not as tacky anymore from my paper being on it a lot. I just might need to change up the sheet. There are some people that say you can wash these and restart. I've tried that. It did not work for me. So whatever you need to do. I hate going through these things quickly, so sometimes as it gets to that point, I'll just start to tape down. And that way I don't care if I go through like maybe 20 more pages of using Scotch tape to keep it down. But once it starts kind of bowing, it'll tell you that it's not as sticky underneath here anymore. And that's just the way it is. So that's going to cut. Again, it's going to cut every single character out. And then it's going to go around 5 more times. And that means the rectangle is pretty much going to be all out. You can see that my cut line is really close to the rectangle shape right here. And so it did get really close to the edge when I was making these, and that's okay. I live on the edge. She's a wild girl. Okay, I don't know what she's talking about. So we're gonna let that go. I'm gonna come back here. Sorry, we're just walking through the studio. Coming back. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, you know what? I've realized we gotta go this way. Sorry about that. My setup, the live screen forces me to put my camera on the right. I can't choose to have it on the left, so in this little stand, it's kind of hard. So right now it's cutting everything out. If I did my transparent sticker sheets, just so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about, let's go back. Let's go to My Stuff, Projects, and let's go to this old one. This is back, oh, that's funny. This is back when I was actually able to cut things out. Okay, there's another glitch. Look at it. It's showing me all the same sticker sheet, which is wrong. So when I tell you this happens a lot when you're working with Cricut, you're going to just constantly have something new every single time you try something. You're going to be like, but this doesn't work this time. And then you'll try something else and you're like, but this doesn't work. It's very frustrating. Okay, we're just going to use a sample one right now. Give me 1 second. I have to hide a secretive sticker sheet I'm working on. Okay, so if I go to make it, and reminder, if it pops up without this, it looks weird or something, you might have to go back and make sure everything is attached. All right, so we're gonna unattach and attach. We're going to go to make it. I think the register lines on the newer updated version is different. I think this is right when my printer stopped working with it, is when I updated my Cricut version on here. I hit next, and then my printer could never find it again. See how it wants me to select an accessory? That's what we talked about earlier. So I don't think I can show you guys until my Cricut's done, which it is now doing its final cuts. It would ask me, you know, do you want to click on the Cricut? And when I would select it, then it would just do the spinning wheel, but it would be connected. I'd have to close this app and start again after it connected to it. So let's just move that one to the side. Okay, so reminder, this is to do the transparent sticker sheets is the next setting we're going to work on. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you guys a couple of my current sticker sheets so you can kind of see what I've done and what I mean about more room on the page while we wait for these last cuts to go through. So there's the gingerbread, okay? And sometimes it will create a little bit of a line, and when you go to peel, it just does not want to peel up easily. These are my sticker sheets now. They peel up very nicely. When I only go over it once, it's like you can't get them started, and I literally have a box. You guys heard that it ended, so we can kick that one out and check it. I have a box of my, I can't sell it, can't get rid of it, but watch. This is what I mean by I can't go around it once. Look at this. See what I'm saying? It's stuck, and then watch what happens. Okay, it's really hard to peel off. Nobody should have a sticker sheet that is that hard to peel. It breaks off in pieces. Okay, so watch when I try to peel this one. I can't grab it easily. This is why I tell people I have to go over it a second time. This happens every time I've changed my setting. My other setting goes all the way through. Watch as I peel. Look what just happened. It just broke. So when I tell you that this is how mine have to be made in order to get a smooth cut, that's how it has to be made. And if it doesn't work for you or you found a faster way, maybe you need to make a tutorial that I can watch and then tag me in it. And then tell me, okay, so the action's complete. This time I know for a fact it's done. I'm going to go unload it. I'm hitting the unload button. Okay, we will not sit through the whole transparent one. I'm just going to show you the settings and then we'll be done with this video. Now I'm going to peel up, and not every time does this detach. Sometimes it'll stick just like that. And this is a reminder of sometimes when I move my Cricut around, it cuts perfectly in one area and not perfectly in another. And then I just have to pull and tear. I don't know. I wish I knew. And then I just have to usually go back and just trim these before I ship them. My subscribers are awesome that get their mystery sticker sheet of the month. And they're usually cool with it. If it does have a little bit of a tear, I'll use a piece of Scotch tape. And what did I say? These are going to get thrown away, these papers, once the stickers are off. So why waste it with Critterosity unless I want to brand it? I understand that. I just also would like more stickers for my customers and bigger. You can put your little, SKU number there. Why would I make this a color except to make it aesthetically pretty? I'd be wasting ink that you're just going to throw in your trash. So I've explained this to all of my subscribers that this is what's best for me. This is what I need to do. I'm so sorry about this. I'm like attached in a weird way. I'm attached. Okay, so what I'm saying is you can always peel this off and make them individual planner stickers. You don't need to die cut them. They're already die cut, but now they're just conveniently on here to do this. If you have a die cut sticker that's cut perfectly, it might be hard to get it started. The back might stick to it. So there is a way you can also do a sticker sheet with no backing, but do you see how I just peeled all of this off? This would all be wasted background color. Like, why? Why waste my ink? So I just, can crumple it up and send it off. Now, when I send my sticker sheets that people order, I leave the backing on. I don't take it off. But I'm just showing you a way to make little individual planners. You can even cut them out. Yes, Greg, we're almost done, buddy. And then also, look at this. Look at where it printed incorrectly. It cut oddly right there. I think it actually tore. That was the problem. Nope. Look at that. We have a glitch. Because we put it in upside down. I literally did the thing. Oh, no. It cut correctly. It just moved. So, that was the one that I did wrong. Remember when I moved her? There's your example of what happens when you move a character. Don't move your characters because it was already set to print the other one. I forgot to put it on my, this is why we do the trial and error, I know. I forgot to put my original sticker sheet back on. This is the one I showed you guys, but this is why you can't mess with it. But see, the other ones were still pretty much in the same spot, so they'll actually work. This will go to my second Pop Shop show. And then for this one was the last thing I was gonna show you guys is your transparent sticker sheets. Yes, yes, hold on.
Big excited for this one.
My boyfriend is here telling me it's New Year's Eve. Let's get on the road. But we're doing this tutorial for people that have been asking how we do stuff. So here we go. Last part is transparency setting. Okay, you guys ready? We go to make it. We go to, this is for anything that I do that is Joyiza transparent. The other one that's like a glossy matte, it doesn't work in my with my Cricut. I don't know why it worked one time and never worked again. We're gonna do, I've already printed because I did. We are gonna do sticky note. And then after sticky note, we are going to say more. Basically, we want to give it the best of the best. We want it to be the most pressure, and I have a deep point blade in there. So even though it's all these heavy settings like more pressure, deep cut blade, I'm still using a pretty soft cut, which is sticky note. But sticky note applies more pressure to get through thicker things. If I do sticky note on my vinyl paper, it would just literally create a hole in the back. So that's why I'm telling you guys, these are my settings. This is what works for me. If you're coming to this tutorial and like, whoa, this went way too fast, find ones just about setting up Cricut. Find ones just about setting up, you know, how to make layers. Find those tutorials. This tutorial is a bit more advanced. If you want to go back to my old Cricut sticker sheet tutorials, I've learned a few new things. I have answers for why things don't work for people now, like the table being weird. I just jumped right into that Cricut sticker sheet tutorial because I was tired of not having an answer, and I felt like every tutorial did not go through the trials and errors. They didn't go through, this is why you don't do this. It's just, here's what you need to do, now do it. And then when I did it, I was like, these don't work. This isn't working for me. Why are the settings not working? It's because we're all made uniquely, okay? Just like our Cricuts. And I just want you guys to know you're not crazy. It's not you. Cricut really needs to keep coming up with stuff because I know that there's other brands out there that are ready to jump on what the problems are with Cricut. And these new companies are trying to make quieter machines. They're trying to make more precision. They're trying to make it so much easier. There's not a bunch of hoops to jump through. Until those get really, really well done, we're kind of stuck here. So let's work together. Thank you for sitting through this tutorial. I'm glad that there were some flubs here and there, and that way I can, you know, show you guys how I jump through those hoops. But I wish you all a very happy new year. Again, the Venmo is not for you to click on or scan unless you are feeling like, hey, I learned something today. This girl, for cutting out some time out of her day, I'm going to send her a little coffee. I'm going to give her $1. I'm going to give her $3, whatever you want to do. I don't care. But I will not know if you watch this video. I will not know if you learned something from it. So if you don't send me Venmo, you're fine. This is my full-time job. I am learning just like anybody else out there. I taught myself Procreate, taught myself how to draw, taught myself how to paint, but I had help along the way that taught me tips, tricks, and how to do things. And though I didn't go to school for this, I also think those end up being the best tutorials because they're people like me that are out there going, I have no idea how to work this. So if you want to watch some of my other tutorials, I have been trying out the HTV Ront machines that they've been sending me. I've done heat press for t-shirts, tote bags. I have a tutorial on the heat press for tumblers that they sent me. So a big thank you to the sponsors that see what I'm doing and try to help me out by sending me ways to express it and show it, because not everybody's an instructor or teacher. Cricut is still one where I can't just show you 5 steps and be done with it. I have to like break everything down and show you all the different ways it can go wrong, all the different ways it can go right. And hopefully somebody out there will leave me a comment saying, thank you, that's all I needed to do. It's an extra step going around it again. But if I cut the work in half and just hit the print button again or the cut button again, it will do that second round. And I find myself doing things and forgetting it's cutting anyway. So yes, it doubles my time of the cutter to go, but it is faster the second round because it doesn't need to read the register lines. So hopefully this has been helpful. Wishing you all the best, and thank you. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, it's super helpful. This tutorial can be shared with others, and I will try to update between today and the end of the week on the products I use, but you can go to my other tutorials where I actually share my printer. I share a live video like this with my sticker sheets the second time I kind of figured things out. And the first tutorial is me just sharing really fast what I did. And then from those comments and questions kept coming up that I'm like, let me do another tutorial now that I've been with these products for much longer. And also having 2 refurbished iPads that didn't cost me a ton of money. They were like 150 bucks. And they've gotten me through several years, and now I'm able to print on my sublimation printer at the same time as my Cricut, like my Canon for sticker sheets. So it's all kind of worked out and paid off. It's just a lot of thinking and a lot of figuring out. So wishing you guys the best. Take care of yourselves and each other.